Hi everyone, I'm back today with my GMade crawlers. And I wanted to do a little bit of a versus between the old GMade GS01 versus the GS02, but more specifically the alternative suspension versions of those two trucks. So what I mean by that is the GS01 normally is a linked truck as seen in the Komodo, but this one is the Sawback, which has the leaf sprung suspension. And then this is the pump, the GS02 pump. The regular GS02 would have just regular suspension. This one has the cantilever suspension in the rear. It's still linked, but it is a cantilever shock setup in the back, so thought that'd be pretty interesting. They're also both built as truggies, so kind of a G-made truggy alternative suspension shootout, I guess, just to see how they do. So before we get to the running video, let's kind of open up these two trucks and kind of go over some comparisons of how they are built. So here we have the two trucks, the GS01 here and then the GS02. This one has been upgraded quite a bit. You can see the battery tray is different. The shocks are different. It has less leaves in it to make it a little bit better articulation wise. It also does have the zero Ackerman steering kit for a little bit more steering throw. Wheel weights, lots of wheel weights on this. Metal steering bits again. Just a lot of upgrades have gone into this, whereas this one is pretty much stock. The only things that have changed on this one is a servo guard here, which is mostly just cosmetic, and then the sway bars for the rear cantilevers, which honestly I think should be a stock option, but I did install those. And then also the wheel weights in the wheels and metal bead locks, but other than that, this one's pretty much stock, whereas this one's very heavily modified. And right away you can see kind of the differences. This is a really old design, going with the center mounted transmission. The drive shaft angles on this is also not great. The lower skid plate here is infamously low, so that probably will get caught and stuff. The axles are also pretty thick as well. They do have a nice little diff cover, but they are pretty thick. And then this rear bumper, I think, might get caught up on stuff as well a little bit. So that might be something I'll have to remove. We'll have to see. Interestingly enough, because this chassis was also used for a linked truck, where the links would go, they just put roller wheels on it, which I always thought was kind of funny. But yeah, pretty simple, old-fashioned little crawler. Whereas on the GS02, first of all, you do get the inner fenders, which is nice, but it's a front-mounted motor, chassis-mounted servo, axle mounted on this one. A lot more steering on it to begin with. Stock on the GS01 would probably be around here. So that's also much better. These are the stock tires as well. And they are much better than the stock tires that the Sawback come with and that the other Komodo comes with. The Komodo tires are pretty decent, but these are probably the best 1.9 tires that GMade makes. It also has a 2-speed transmission. You can see the extra servo there. And then forward mounted battery. This way you can also mount it here if you want, but forward mounted battery. The axles have the diff cups, the diff covers, kind of at an angle for a little bit more clearance. And the axles themselves are also much thinner for more clearance as well. So that's also very nice. The shocks that this thing comes with are also metal, like aluminum bodies and adjustable. The link setup on it is also pretty decent on this. The drive shafts are kind of CVA designs, so very smooth. And as you can see, the drive shafts are also opposing rotation to help eliminate torque twist. So that's pretty cool as well. The chassis is also much stiffer than the GS01. The GS01 is very, very flexible and also chrome for some reason. So you can definitely tell GMade learned a lot of lessons with the GS01 and implemented them to the GS02. So just by looking at the chassis designs themselves, you can probably guess which one's gonna do better. But instead of kind of guessing, let's actually take it outside, take it on the same course and see which one will actually drive better. So as you saw in the driving footage, as we expected, the GS02 performed immaculately. It just made the entire course look completely easy, and some of those were actually pretty difficult courses, but GS02 had no issues with it, performed fantastically. The GS01, on the other hand, did struggle quite a lot, even with all the money and parts spent on it. The steering definitely was improved thanks to the upgrades done there. Center of gravity was also decent because of all the upgrades done there, but it is still significantly heavier than the GS02, the way I have it set up. But as we expected, the main issue was that center skid plate, and then as we expected, that rear bumper got stuck a lot. So rear bumper will be coming off. With the Truggy, you don't really need a rear bumper anyway, so that'll be coming off. And then we'll have to address the center skid, which I do plan to do, because I was planning on making a 3D printed skid plate myself. But before I did that, I just kind of went on Shapeways real quick. Someone already did it for me. So here we have the part. It still uses the nut pockets, which I'm not a big fan of. So if I were to design my own, I'd probably just make this so you just thread the screw directly into the nylon instead of using the nuts. But pretty interested to see how this is going to work out, and hopefully that will kind of eliminate the final major issue with the Sawback. Oh, also the front bumper got cut up a lot, so I'll probably have to replace that as well with something smaller. But otherwise, even though this one didn't perform very well, I'm kind of happy. I still have stuff to mess around with this. This one I'm probably just gonna drive it as it is, but really happy to continue to kind of mess around with the Sawback, because I do actually like working on this and driving it and kind of tuning it up. It has been a lot of fun to mess around with. So wheelbase wise, the GMade, the GS01 is 11 point something wheelbase, whereas the GS02 is the more standard 12.3 wheelbase. So that's probably going to help it out at some points as well. I'm hoping the shorter wheelbase in the Sawback will also kind of help it not get hung up as much in the middle over some stuff, but somehow I don't think that's going to help much. So in conclusion, in this head-to-head between the GS01 and the GS02, the winner is, I think, the GS02 in capability. Obviously with this design, much more modern design, it's going to be more capable on more terrain compared to the Sawback. So if you're looking for a very capable rock crawler, GS02 is a very excellent option. If you're looking for a affordable leaf sprung truck, the Sawback is still not a bad option. Just know that with a leaf sprung design, you're gonna have some limitations compared to a linked truck. If you're choosing between GS01 and GS02, basically decide, do you want something more like cool to drive on the trails, like a leaf sprung truck, or do you want more capability? And depending on which direction you want to go, GS01 or GS02 could be a good choice. But for the vast majority of people, I think they're looking for capability as well as trail truck ability. And for that overall package, I think GS02 definitely takes the cake. So I personally still love both my trucks equally. I love the challenge the Sawback gives me. I love the way it looks. I love the leaf springs and all that. But the performance of the GS02 really can't be beat when the two are put head to head. So with that said, I hope everyone enjoyed the video, found it informative or entertaining. And as always, have a great day and have fun with RC.